Hello everyone, welcome to the Aussie Game Podcast where we talk all things Australian football, and it's been another massive week in Australian football. Plenty of talking points, plenty of action, plenty of players performing in Australia and all around the world. Here to help me go through all that is Mopper, as always. How are you, mate?
Fantastic, Chief. How are you today?
Very good, mate. Very good.
All right, let's rock into it. Hey, we've got last week's highlight reel just got extended, Chief. And I just want to touch on the highlight reel, my friend. A short edited compilation of the best, most impressive, noteworthy moments from either a longer event or an activity, such as a sporting event. It's concise, engaging, and showpieces quality and tells us a story that promote somewhat effectively capturing essence and brilliance. Number 66 does it again. 2 goals in a row from free kicks, Chief. What a start overnight. And he gets called up back to the Socceroos. Another amazing story, number 66, as we talk. The highlight reel continues, my friend, and it just brings us great joy and pleasure to watch that brilliance. Not only, Chief, though, do we have number 66, we have a massive shout out to the Combat Juniors Matildas, who clinched the under 16 Asian 2025 title. Congratulations to girls. They played some fantastic football in the 12-team competition over there, got their first taste of Asia in difficult conditions, and come away with great plaudits on their performances. And also, Chief, how can we forget the moment of the week as well? Heidelberg United, Chiefs Cup sets 3 weeks in a row. The burgers, quite magic. The highlight reel continues. The club itself was founded in 1958. Greek immigrants from Fiona in Greece decided to own and bring their social club to football to Ringle Park, Beverley Road, Heidelberg, that holds 300 car spaces, Chief, with some sheltered areas, and it's classified as one of the most picturesque grounds that destroyed the hopes and dreams of 3A League clubs. And now they find themselves in the final in October with one more game to go of magic. We talk about Heidelberg, Chief, and the club, the character, and the passion. With all the troubles around us, Chief, there always is pieces of magic of football that brings these stories to life. Forget about those concerns, because there's just the underwhelming great moments that we love about this game that continues the highlight reel.
Mate, what an amazing start to the show, and there's absolutely plenty to get through. Heidelberg, what an amazing story. It's what these cups are all about. They're having the underdog come all the way through, or maybe they're not the underdog the way that they're playing at the moment. But let's start with our number 66, Nestory Irankunda, because as you said, he did score another worldie of a free kick overnight to rescue a point for Watford. And what it just, as you said, just adding to his highlight reel, really the 2 goals he scored over the last 2 weeks just reminds me of some of the goals he scored in the A-League. And as I said last week, we're kind of used to seeing this, but he's bringing onto this world stage and showing what he's all about. What a performance from him. Player of the match, as well as scoring that equalising goal. And he's just having the time of his life. And what a time to be having it coming into the Socceroos camp.
Absolutely, Chief. I've seen even a run in the first half. He just drove from the halfway line. He couldn't balance himself up at the end to finish, but put a shot in that went wide. But his intent and just theatre that he continues to provide, his maturity at the end with the comments and the beautiful theatrics of the acrobatics that he provides. He's even getting his other players
Can you
do
do that?
somersaults.
Can you do that?
I can't do that, Chief, but I can roll around, but that's not as good as Irankunda. As I said, he's precise and concise, isn't he? He's Mr. Wonderful, and it's so great to see him back in Australia, coming back to play New Zealand in a doubleheader. It's just so great. 2 players from the Socceroos, 19 and 21 years of age, Segicic and Irankunda, in the top 10 goal scorers in the championship, Chief, sit equal 9th. What a fantastic achievement, and what a great story to start the championship. With so many Aussies making a charge in there, We've seen some great highlights, and they're leading the way, Chief, and more excitement to come. They're only 19-21. Watch out, highlight reel. You're going to have to make a series because it's coming to town.
Oh, I said last week that 20 goals and assists in the season might be his benchmark, but he's chipped another way. I might have to reassess my marker for him. Certainly hit the ground running over there at Watford, and I'm sure the fans are very impressed with him. I saw someone comment this morning that Bayern Munich potentially already preparing that buyback clause for him to come back to Germany. I think we're probably getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there, but certainly he's performing very well. Adored by the fans, and he's forming those really great combinations with some of those Watford players as well, which is very pleasing. Not only his single performances, but contributing as part of the team as well. I saw the post-match interview he had. I think it was with his club interviewer, but he made the comment that I'm a game changer. But yeah, definitely having that confidence that he knows where he's at the moment, and he knows what he can do and what his ability is.
Absolutely, Chief. And obviously, we could continue to talk about young Irrikunda, but there are so many Aussies that played through the week in Europe and overnight. Let's break it all down in England, starting with Middlesbrough.
Yeah, Sammy Silvera, he was withdrawn at halftime in Borough's 1-0 win over Sheffield United. We're not 100% sure if it was an injury or whether it was a tactical decision, but Borough's certainly flying out of the blocks. They're 4 from 4. Yeah, Silvera, he was fouled a couple of times in the first half. So, yeah, we'll have to just wait and see what happens with him and whether it was an injury replacement or a tactical one. So, because we obviously know he was in that Socceroos squad. So we hope for Sammy's sake that he's able to fulfill that squad and get down to Canberra this Friday coming.
Yeah, hopefully he is fit. Those challenges obviously got both yellow cards for two players there from Sheffield. He did go close to scoring, just wide, and he had another shot blocked in a busy first half. But he's been replaced by loanee Matt Taggart from Newcastle with a lot of Premier League experience, Chief, down that left wing back. He likes the 3-4-2-1 system, so it'd be very interesting. He's got some challenges on there, but we can't underestimate what a start he's had and what he's shown Rob Edwards. So onward and upward, hopefully, is the Sammy Silvera. You're going to get competition at this level. That's what it's about, and I think it'll only make him better. Over to Portsmouth, Chief. What do we got over in Pompey for our Aussies over there?
Yeah, Superman Segacic got 89 minutes in their 1-0 win over Preston. So good to see them kicking along. And then he was replaced by Thomas Waddingham. So yeah, Waddingham obviously got the minute and then a bit of injury time as well. Hayden Matthews unused, Jacob Farrell not in the squad. But good to see consistent game time for Segacic. And yeah, it looks like that Waddingham and Matthews still building into the squad.
Yeah, it was a good win by Pompey. They continue to move up to the top half of the table. Over in Blackburn, Chief, we've seen Lewis Miller had 13 minutes off the bench as Rovers lost 2-0 to Norwich. And in Derby, they haven't won a game yet, Derby, but 45 minutes and an assist in a 2-1 loss to Burnley in the EFL Cup midweek for Callum Elder. He also started in a 2-2 draw against Ipswich overnight, played 89 minutes, got a yellow card. Yet to win, Chief, in their first 4 games, 2 draws, 2 losses. So we wish Callum Elder a first win after the international break. Over in Swansea, Chief, what do we got for the Rock of Gibraltar?
Yeah, Burgess, his team got past Caleb Watts' Plymouth Argyle on penalties in the League Cup during the week. So Burgess played 62 minutes in that one, and Caleb Watts got 25 minutes off the bench. So Swansea have drawn Notts Forest in round 3 of the Cup, which would be a pretty tough assignment for them. But we wish Burgess all the best in that one. And then overnight, he played a full 90 in a 2-0 win to Sheffield Wednesday. He had 88 accurate passes, and they're up to 7th, actually, Swansea, not going too badly at all.
Yep, some
I'll,
good
I'll let
results
I'll
there
let
from the
you
Rock.
I'll let you take the next one, mate, because I know that you were pretty angry about this when the lineups came out last night.
Oh, not angry, just disappointed. QPR, there's Charlton. We've got a few Aussies there, but none of the Aussies made the squad for QPR. Ashley Maynard Brewer made the bench for Charlton, with QPR picking up their first win, though, so we've got to take the positive, Chief. Our 3 Aussies are young. So we'll just wait and see. Plus, Chief, they do have the World Cup under-20s less than a month away, so maybe they're in good stead and good nick for that. Yes, I was disappointed just not to see Daniel Benny, especially on the bench. I can understand Pearman; he's only young, but yeah, Daniel Benny not getting a run. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed. But anyway, onwards and upwards. We've got the 20s World Cup, and hopefully the QPR boys can break back in after that. Over in Millwall, Luongo's getting some game time. He scored a goal and played in the first half of Millwall's 2-1 win over Coventry in the League Cup midweek. Rafael Bjorgs Rodriguez played 60 minutes for Coventry as well, but Millwall took the cherries there. Millwall also have drawn James Holland Crystal Palace in round 3, so that'll be a cracker. He again started at home to Wrexham. The game went on forever, played a full game in a 2-0 loss. I think it went for 121 minutes, Chief, but
Oh, really? Well,
yeah, it finally blew the whistle at the end, but they still lost. But anyway, well done to the Wrexham fans. I know they're heavily supported. What about Wigan, Chief? Tyrese Francois
yeah, not
wasn't
in the
in the
squad.
squad. What's
No,
happened?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thought they might have just been resting him for the league. So yeah, he wasn't in the squad, but they beat Stockport County 1-0 in the League Cup. They've drawn Wickham in round 3, so not
Oh,
too
nice
bad a
draw.
draw at all. And then he played the first half overnight against Stockport County. They had a 1-1 draw. So I don't. Maybe potentially being phased out of that starting lineup. Not sure. My first thought was when he wasn't in the League Cup squad that just rested, but if he's only played 45, maybe they're looking at other options there. But we'll keep an eye on that one for Tyrese Francois. You mentioned Rafael Borges Rodriguez before, and yeah, he was an unused sub in Coventry's 2-2 draw with Oxford United overnight. Joe Gauci, he got his first clean sheet for Port Vale in the League Cup during the week. They had a win over Birmingham. Birmingham had no shots on target, but Port Vale have drawn a massive team in the next round, drawn Arsenal. So
Brilliant.
it'd be, yeah, a huge challenge for Gauci. It's at Port Vale. So yeah, Arsenal may not roll out their best team, but it's a huge challenge up against a huge club, an opportunity to show what he's got.
Yes, and in the league clash overnight, Joe was in goals again as his side went down 1-0 away to Reading. He made 5 saves but conceded in the 66th minute for Paddy Lane's left foot weldy. I watched the goal, Chief. Wow, he wasn't stopping that. I don't think anyone would have stopped that one. That was a cracker.
Wow. Yeah, and then Caleb Watts, he was again in action after his League Cup performance during the week. His side went down 4-0 to Cardiff, who are unbeaten so far in League One, and Watts played 72 minutes in that one. So probably not outside of Irresistible, probably not a lot of highlights across England over the weekend and during the week. But yeah, we look forward to keeping an eye on those as the weeks progress.
Yeah, definitely. Over in Scotland now, Chief. A couple of Aussies happening, and we've got a few European games as well. What do we got? We'll start with Motherwell, and Motherwell unearths a new signing.
Yeah, Oscar Priestman. He's moved over there from the Western Sydney Wanderers. So he signed during the week on a 3-year deal. He was named in the under 23 Asian Cup qualifiers starting Wednesday. So yeah, he's also now the 15th Aussie in Scotland, which is, we're racking them up over there. So overnight, Motherwell had a 2-2 draw with Kilmarnock. Stamatopoulos played a full game, 4 shots, no goals. Of course, he was one of the unlucky ones to miss out on the Socceroos squad. Johnny Kutrumbis got a few late minutes, but Priestman, after only arriving there a couple of days ago, got 17 minutes off the bench, so straight into the squad and some minutes off the bench. So they're obviously pretty happy with how he's got into his work over there straight away. But I think it's
Absolutely.
a pretty good move over there. He was impressive at the Wanderers last season, and I think he'll go well. He's a pretty tough nut, pretty combative midfielder there, works hard. So I think he'll suit Scotland, and yeah, let's hope he can have a good time over there at Motherwell.
Yeah, under 23s in action this week. They've got 3 qualifying games to get to the Asia Cup next year. St Mirren Chief, they hold off Rangers to a 1-1 draw. Geez, they're under pressure. And Colonel Bacchus plays another 90 tonight. He'll play against his fellows at Hibs. Well, fellow Aussie at Hibs, I should say. And I'll tell you what, Hibs again, the marathon team, again, Chief, break it down. They're gonna be very tired going back to St Mirren.
Oh, mate, this was like so tough to watch. So they played in the Europa Conference League during the week. Again, as they were in the round before, they were all but through 4-3 up on aggregate and heading into stoppage time of the second half. and then they conceded one in stoppage time, and then conceded another one in extra time, and then yeah, unbelievable, knocked out. So yeah, they've had a bit of luck, but gee, they just can't close out these games, unfortunately. Martin Boyle played 90 minutes, scored a goal, so he's coming into the Socceroos camp in some good form. And Jack Idol came off the bench. He played 41 minutes, but yeah, disappointing for them to get knocked out of that Europa Conference League.
Yes, and also Aberdeen lost 3-0 to FCSB to be knocked out of the Europa Conference League qualifying as well. Both Nicholas Milanovic and Yangi got 24 minutes off the bench. Big game tonight against Falkirk as they look to get their first points of the season. Is this possible, Chief? Can they get a win?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, they should. Like, if they want to have any ambitions for this season, they need to beat teams like Falkirk, who got promoted from the second division last season. I think I've got that one wrong, mate. I think they lost in Europa League qualifying, and now they've dropped back to Europa Conference League. So they will
Okay.
still be in Europe, but yeah, not in the Europa League. So yeah,
Well, at
but
least
anyway,
they've got something to play for anyway, which
yeah,
is good.
yeah,
And
definitely.
over to Livingston, those Hearts. What do we got there?
Yeah, Ryan McGowan played a full game. He's been captaining that team this season. And then Teddy Yangi got 73 minutes off the bench. Oh, sorry, 73 minutes taken off late. They lost 2-1 to Hearts. Another solid performance from Cammy Devlin, who missed out on that Socceroos squad. But Hearts are now top. The Old Firm derby is tonight, Celtic and Rangers. If Celtic win, they'll jump them into top spot. But certainly a lot of ambition for Hearts with Tony Bloom being their owner. He really wants them to be challenging right up the top of Scotland, and they've started the season really, really well.
Yeah, well done, Cam Devlin. Keep knocking on the door. He's doing a great job over there, mate. Yeah, keep up the good work, and hopefully we'll see him in a Socceroos jersey soon because he certainly deserves a spot. Over in Spain, Chief, Matt Ryan finally signs a 1-year deal with Levante, and I've seen the highlights of this game, Elche away to Elche. Wow, that was some fantastic atmosphere there. But he was put straight in overnight, but they went down 2-0 again, some cracking goals. Well, his side was under the pump all game. LJ was throwing everything at him, and unfortunately lost his first game. But he's back between the sticks and getting some match game time, which is what we're after.
What do you think that's a good signing for him to go to a club like that in Spain?
I'll tell you what, there's a few clubs in England crying out for goalkeepers. Look,
Yeah.
it, he'll start, he'll get game time. I think Levante will struggle. They'll be down the bottom of the Spanish league, La Liga. He's playing. That's all we need. World Cup at the end of the year. So
He'll
I,
get plenty of practice, is what you're
he'll get.
saying.
Oh, I think there was like 16 or 18 shots. I think.
Wow.
Yes, LJ and the crowd was going nuts, and it
Uh,
was full on. I think yeah, there was like 5 or 6 on target as well. So yeah, certainly a busy night in the first game back. I don't think you could have done too much about the goals, but look, he's playing, so that's it. There's enough. Look, this is not a progressive club. This is a survival club. But what he needs is game time for the World Cup, and that's what we're aiming for.
yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Another signing during the week, Goran Quol, he's moved from Newcastle, signing a 4-year deal with Sparta Prague in the Czech Republic. What do you make of that one, mate?
Definitely had to get out of Newcastle. They've signed some players as well. Newcastle with Alanga on the wing there. So obviously there wasn't never much opportunity for him, I believe. Sparta Prague's coming second in the league, 6 games, 5 wins, 1 draw. They win their make-up game and they're on top. So it's a good club over there in the Czech Republic. They come fourth last year, so he'll get some game time hopefully. It's an interesting move. The Czech league, it would be he's gone to a good club. Let's hope it's recognised and he can get some game time. And yeah, that's again same as Ryan. Yeah, he's just got to start his career. He would have seen the young boys over in the championship, and he must be chomping at the bit to get in there and have a crack.
Yeah, also in the Europa Conference League as well. So,
Brilliant.
yeah, plenty of opportunity for game time for Goran Quol. I agree with you. Needed to get out of Newcastle. Wasn't going to get a look in there, and it's easy to forget that the monumental, highlight of the 2022 World Cup, and he was this close to getting that ball under Emi Martinez and forcing extra time in that game against Argentina. So really shows that you need to be making these right moves when you're a young player in particular. So hopefully this one works out for him, and he could potentially be a Socceroos bolter. There's a good player in there still. We do have a lot of options in those attacking positions, but if he plays well there, no reason that he might not be looked at by Popovich.
Yeah, look, not many players, Aussie players, are going to be playing in Europe. Let's be honest. So he's going to get a really good test in the Conference League. He's going to come up with against some really interesting clubs for him. So look, I'd take it as a positive. And again, you're spot on about these moves. When they're 18, 19, 20, they've got to go to a league where they're going to be playing. I get the whole, aurora of Bayern Munich and Newcastle, but we know what they do, Chief. They develop and sell, and they don't really get much game time. You have to be pretty special and pretty lucky to get some game time in those big clubs. But anyway, we wish him the best in Sparta, and we'll follow him every week. And hopefully next week or after the international break, we can report on him having his first couple of starts.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a few weeks ago about Bayern Munich, for example. Like, if they want a player, they're just going to throw 100 mil at it, aren't they? Like, they're not really there to develop you through the squad. They're potentially to develop you and sell you on. But yeah, like it's just about making these right decisions. And he hasn't really done. To be fair, he hasn't really done a lot since that World Cup. And now, hopefully, here's his chance to
Yeah.
prove his worth.
Look,
So we
he's
wish him well.
He's been playing in Newcastle reserves. We know that, but yeah, that's not the level we want. And he joins, our European Aussie boys. We've got Geordie Boss in the Europa League, Daniel Azani if he can get some time in the Europa League. We've got in the Conference League, we've got Tilio who just moved to Rapid, Casey Boss in Mains if he can get in the squad, Nicholas Milanovic, Yangi, and Suman for Aberdeen. So look, he'll join those boys, and hopefully they can get through in their qualifying groups as it progresses on through the latter part of the year. All
Yep.
right, Chief, over to our exciting young central defender in Italy, and young Sarati, and potentially a Socceroo captain in the waiting. How'd he go
Yeah.
overnight?
Yeah, like overnight he had a 1-1. They had a 1-1 draw with Atalanta. He played a full game last weekend. I mean, you mentioned this on the podcast. It was played just after we recorded, but he played 90 minutes against Juventus, and his Parma lost 2-0. But interestingly, he has been linked with Juventus and AC Milan. That's reported by Adriano Del Monte. So that would be an interesting move, but it just shows the level he's at, that these big clubs are actually looking at him. I don't know that would be the best move for him. I saw someone mention particularly AC Milan, that they tend to favour more experienced defenders. So it almost wouldn't matter how good he is, he might not get a look in. But I think playing this season in Parma, showing what he can do at the World Cup, and then potentially look at a move from there.
Look, I think Leone's move from Parma to Liverpool has really opened it up. So it'd be very silly to move. He's got a starting position there with Leone leaving. They were exciting in the back line. He's going to start every week. So yeah, I think prove your worth and play football, and then if you can get that move later on, fantastic. But yeah, just if we've got an Aussie central defender playing in Serie A at that age, that's just unbelievable. That's exciting.
That's huge, yeah. Staying in Italy at Roma, Winnie Heatley, she's played a full game. They're trying to qualify for the Women's Champions League. So they had a 2-0 win during the week over Oktobe. And then she was an unused sub overnight in a 5-1 win over Sparta Prague. So they need to win. I think the draw for that one is tonight for the next round, but they need to win one more game, I think it is, to qualify for the Champions League. So that'd be really cool for Winnie Heatley to be qualifying for the Champions League, add to a few more of our Matildas that are in that competition as well.
Yeah, we've got a very good core group in Europe next year for the women, and you've seen what the younger women have done, and I think this is Wiona Heatley's great move to really challenge herself over there. It was great to see her get a start. Bit disappointing that she was an unused sub, but anyway, that's football, and we wish her all the best in Roma's quest to get into the Champions League. She is definitely pushing for the starting 11 for the Matildas, so yeah, if she can get some football in Roma in the Serie A for women, fantastic.
Yeah.
Over to Belgium, Chief. Ryan Teague struggles continue.
Yeah, he was an unused sub. I mean, their 2-1 loss to Royal Antwerp. He got 9 minutes in a 3-2 win overnight. They're actually doing really well in Belgium at the moment. I think they're third. So yeah, tough tough competition for spots within that team, but he'll come into that Socceroos camp and be able to, you know, get around his countrymen and hopefully that builds some confidence going back to KV Mechelen. But he just needs to keep working at it, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, it didn't hurt his chances. Poppers sees a lot of potential there, so good luck with him when he returns back to his club. In Netherlands, Chief Roda, 75 minutes for Josh Nisbet in Roda's 3-1 loss to Triple V Viano, then 90 minutes in a 0-0 draw with FC Eindhoven. Shows the changes in the Socceroos when they were huge calls 18 months ago to include him in the squad. Now very little, if anything, for Josh Nisbet.
Yeah, I think when he was coming through at Central Coast, there was almost this demand, and we did a Socceroos a reaction to the Socceroos squad on Friday, and I kind of mentioned this kind of idea as well that 18 months ago we were picking from the A League because we just didn't have players playing overseas, so. And Nisbet was probably one of those ones where there was almost this demand to have him in the squad, but the times have kind of changed in that respect as well, and you just see there's just different options for Popovic to have now. So look, he's in the second division there in the Netherlands, and just needs to keep building his game time up. He was kind of okay at Ross County last year in Scotland, but didn't really hit the heights that a few people that might have expected him to do.
Yeah, we'll continue to watch his development in 26-year-old Josh Nisbet, and we wish him well in the second division. Keep chipping away. I still think midfield's got a couple of opportunities, and you never know what can happen. Over and staying with Netherlands, sorry, Chief, NAC Breda and the celebrationary cap for Max Ballard in the squad again. We're hoping for a debutant cap for Max Ballard. He played 79 minutes in a 3-0 loss to NEC last Sunday, and he plays tonight, I believe, for NAC Breda. So well done to Max. He's got his reward. We've been hyping him up a bit on the show, and we wish him all the best tonight and when he flies back over here to get some game time and his first Socceroos cap. He's been in the squad before, team, but hasn't started or come off the bench. So we're looking for Ballard in Canberra or over in New Zealand. What about
Yep.
this is the story, Chief. Adam Hrustic, I want you to break it down for me. I'm very excited about this move, and he's had a cracking start.
Yeah, over at Heracles, Aiden Hrustic, he got 29 minutes off the bench. They lost 2-0 to Ajax. He played. They lost 4-0. I think it was Friday night at their time, Saturday morning our time. But he was their best player by some margin, according to stats I saw. He created 4 chances in the game. So I think it's just really pleasing to see him playing, getting some minutes. Perhaps his team might struggle a bit in Holland this year, but I think important for him to get game time, and he really is for the Socceroos someone that offers something quite different. So him on the ball and on his day can be absolutely fantastic. So I look forward to seeing him get some minutes in the Socceroos games against New Zealand to show what he can do.
Yes, and early on too, they played Ajax, lost 2-0. So obviously he's getting some games, building up his fitness, and then I think the Socceroos will do him nicely and go back and tackle the full season in in the Dutch league.
Yeah, and then just rounding out the Netherlands, Cam Pupion got 66 minutes for ADO Den Haag in their 2-0 win over Helmond Sport. So yeah, plenty of action happening in the Netherlands, as there is in Austria as well, because there's a big story. You kind of teased this last week, but we've had it confirmed that Marco Tilio has joined Rapid Vienna on a 4-year deal. So Rapid are in the Europa Conference League and in the Austria Cup still, as well as the league. So plenty of opportunity for Marco Tilio to get some time. It's a bit different to the deal that you mentioned last week. Looks like it's more permanent, but he, again, another one that just needed to get out of Celtic and look for some opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. We keep saying it's a crucial year and you've got to be playing. And once again, there's a few boys in Austria now, and he joins the plethora of players over there. And yeah, good luck. He'll be chomping at the bit because obviously he hasn't made the Socceroos squad. So if he can get some game time under his belt, hopefully we can share some highlights and news as his season progresses. But he'll stay behind with the team while the international break is on and hopefully get some fitness and break into that side as quickly as possible. Over in Grazier RK, we've got Jacob Itano He plays 90 minutes for Grazer AK as a draw with 1-1 with Ultrich. Also played 90 minutes and a 3-0 loss to Sturm Graz overnight. So no luck for Jacob, and he wasn't picked. He was one of the unlucky ones, but we talked about the
Yeah, I
offside.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, been so strong and strength there that we've got so much depth. He's only missed 7 minutes so far this season across the opening 4 games, so he's really, found a home there and is doing really well.
Yep.
Austria Vienna Chief, yeah, fire
Yeah.
away. Noah Botic.
Yeah, he got 30 minutes for Austria Vienna as they lost 3-1 to Jed Drew's Hartberg. We're actually going really well, Hartberg. So Austria Vienna, on the other hand, still winless in the league. So potentially a bit of pressure on them. Of course, they were in European competition as well and got knocked out. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things might change for Bodic. He did get a call up to the Socceroos. So again, another chance to come into camp and hopefully score a goal and get his confidence up as he goes back to Austria Vienna. So
And
mentioned Hartberg. Oh, sorry, mate. Go.
yeah, no, I was just going to say, congratulations to Jed Drew, who's been picked in the under 23 squad as well, Chief, for the upcoming qualifiers. He's been on fire over there. He's having a great time. And that's been recognised and rewarded with those caps for the 23s coming up.
Yeah, plenty of people thought he should be in the Socceroos squad as well, but just we do have so many attacking options there. Probably still a bit unlucky the way he's been going. Plenty of goals and assists so far this season. So, but yeah, he played 78 minutes for Hartberg against Austria Vienna, as we mentioned, and then he started in Hartberg's 3-0 Austria Cup win over ATS Velden. So yeah, plenty of minutes, plenty of goals and assists for Jed Drew, doing really well over there. And Mo Toure in Randers in Denmark, it was surprising to see him actually get some minutes off the bench. I thought his injury was going to be a bit more long term. They lost 1-0 to Fredericia. Paul Izzo played the full 90 minutes over there. But obviously Mo Toure again getting picked in the Socceroos squad. I thought he was going to be out for a bit longer, but good for Randers and also good for the Socceroos.
Yeah, he's a prestigious talent, Chief. 21 years of age. Yeah, he's going to be fantastic. He's an exciting player, and great to see him returning at the right time too. Over to
Yep.
Sweden, Chief.
Yeah, a few of our Matildas and up and coming Matildas doing well in Sweden. So let's start with Courtney Nevin, her Malmo. They actually went top in Sweden last night with a 3-1 win over Vaxjo. They're on a 7-match winning streak, and Courtney Nevin picked up 2 assists in that game. So she's absolutely flying. Malmo are flying, all going well over there. Vitcho GIK, Daniela Galic played 90 minutes in their 3-0 loss to Linkopings FC. And Kristianstad's Amy Sayer and Remy Simpson over there. They both started. Sayer played a full game. Simpson was taken off late, but they lost 3-0 to AIK. So they're all about, obviously Malmo's out in front flying, but the others are kind of in that mid to higher table, looking to compete for some of those spots. So they're all doing well. Good to see them getting plenty of game time. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, they're the emerging up and coming next 11, aren't they? They're pushing for squad space in the Matildas. So the exciting thing is they're playing week in, week out. We report on these girls all the time. So having a fantastic time over there in Sweden, and good luck to the girls. There's some exciting talent over there in Sweden, and good luck to them. And we'll keep watching their progress as they continue and see if Courtney Nevins, Malmo, the defending champions, can take out another title this year.
Yeah, they're flying at the moment, so no reason why they can't. Let's go to Croatia, Hajduk Split. Our 2 Socceroos, Fran Karacic and Anthony Kalic, that were called up this week. So Karacic has been really consistent. He played another 90, and Kalic got 5 minutes as they won 2-0 over Osijek, and they've won 4 from 4 in the league so far. So they're actually leading the league for quite some time last season, but fell away. So I'm sure that they'll be looking to hopefully win the league again this year. That'd be great for them.
Yes, and exciting to see them next week. Watching these 2 players, very well deserved call-ups from the Socceroos.
Yeah, particularly Kalic. Karacic has been in the squad before, but Kalic will be his first time, and see if he can get a debut cap. That would be cool.
Yes, they're exciting times. And over in Germany, Chief, we have a very exciting signing. Haley Russo signs 2 years for Eintracht Frankfurt. That's a beautiful stadium over there, Chief. What a great atmosphere. 2-year deals from Spurs, Haley Russo. I think it's a great move to the Bundesliga, Chief. She is a bit of a travel warrior, and she loves a good postcard. But I reckon as long as she's playing, she'll need to. Asia Cup coming up, but surely she starts and she'll make an impact over there in Germany. But the Bundesliga is pretty tough.
I hope so. I mean, I think it's 5 clubs in 6 years for her though, so she's certainly jumped around from Man City and then went to Real Madrid, I think, after that one, and then met Spurs. I think she was in the A-League before that. So, yeah, she just needs to find some solidity. We know what she can do. Every time she comes and plays for the Matildas, she does well. So, just needs to show that in some club form, and hopefully she can do that at Eintracht Frankfurt.
Definitely. And staying in Germany, Chief, for the men's, St. Pauli, 8 minutes off the bench for Conor Metcalf in a 2-0 win over Hamburger. So that's 1 win, 1 draw, and they've got 4 points for St. Pauli. They're pumping over there. And Jackson Irvine reported during the week that he's started back in training. So this is the first Hamburg derby played in Bundesliga in 14 years. 4 points from possible 6 to start the season. St. Pauli's on fire. Wow, that would have been big night for those two clubs. Wow. What a
Yeah, I
contest.
saw some of the scenes from the stadium. It was crazy, like very, very passionate support about both of them. And Hamburg have actually had, it shows that obviously St. Pauli haven't been in the Bundesliga, but Hamburg have been kind of up and down a bit of late too. So yeah, cool to see. Yeah, that rivalry back in the Bundesliga again. But
Yeah,
I
they're a
saw
big
they,
club, Hamburg. They're a massive club. I
yeah,
can't believe they dropped down. Anyway, they're back and
yeah.
they've been beaten by their counterparts. And wow, that's going to be exciting football up there in the top of Germany.
I saw a cool thing, how they kinda do a march to the ground sometimes. The St. Pauli fans were, on their bicycles, riding to the stadium. That was their version of the march. They do things differently at St. Pauli,
Oh,
so
they
it's,
can they
pretty
can do
cool.
whatever they want. They love football. Over in
Uh
Mainz, Chief.
yeah, so Casey Boss's Mines are through to the Europa Conference League. Unfortunately, Casey hasn't been getting a look in. I saw he played one game for their B side recently, but yeah, hasn't been looking in the starting lineup. So yeah, we'll keep a track on Casey, and it's a big move for him going from Melbourne Victory straight into the Bundesliga, and might just take him some time.
And over in Wolfsburg, Chief, for the final wrap in Germany.
Yeah, Sean Fryer, she was an unused sub. They played in the German Super Cup, and they lost. Wolfsburg lost to Bayern Munich 4-2. But Sian Frey is pretty new over there, so I think she got some game time and a goal and a friendly recently. But I think their season probably starts next week if the Super Cups was overnight. So yeah, we look forward to tracking Sian, seeing how she goes.
And Daniel Azani as we switch over to Hungary, Chief. Still unused sub.
Yeah, just not getting much of a look in, is he? It's an interesting move as we kind of speak about most weeks, but again, we just kind of keep a track of that one. They were knocked out of the Champions League qualifying during the week to Karabag, so yeah, not having the best time. And yeah, Azani's just not getting a look in, so we'll see what happens with him.
It's cost him dearly, Chief, because he hasn't been picked in the Socceroos squad. So yeah, it's good. He's got a difficult time coming up in the next 3 months to try to break that side. Over
Yep.
in Portugal, Santa Clara.
Yeah, Anthony Carter, we presume he's still injured. He wasn't in the squad for as they got knocked out of the Europa Conference League qualifying. So yeah, just back to the league for Santa Clara, and hopefully Anthony Carter's not too far away for some action back on the pitch. But
Yep.
I just wanted to touch briefly, Moffa, before we jump out of Europe. But then the WSL starts next weekend, and we've got a whole heap of Matildas that are going to be in action, which is very fun to keep an eye on.
Oh, how good is it having these girls back and playing in the one of the best leagues in the world? There's some really top leagues now for the women's football. One in England and America, Bundesliga, Sweden. They're all pretty strong rivalries for competitions. But look at those names that are playing, and a lot of these are starting Matildas as well. So, what a fantastic opportunity again for a fresh new year. And I'm sure the most exciting fans are going to be very interested in seeing Mary Fowler and Sam Kerr, how they come back. But obviously, Carpenter's new club, Chelsea, we talked about her challenges, how she fits in that right wing back position. They've got some heavy competition. But good to see Alana Kennedy back at London City as well. She's come back from America. But obviously Dario Vidosic's second year at Brighton. He had a great year as well. And
Yeah.
obviously the Champions League champions, Arsenal, Ford, Catley and Cooney Cross as well. Oh, mate. And we can't forget, obviously, Claire Wheeler at Everton and obviously Charlie Grant and Claire Hunt at Spurs and Gorey at West Ham. What a top bunch of players we've got over there, Chief, at one of the best leagues in the world for the Matildas.
When you look at that, it's a pretty core Matildas lineup, isn't it? Like,
Oh, 100%.
like you're not
100%.
you're not missing many of your starters there, are you? Like,
No, they've earned it, Chief, and they're going to be cherry ripe. Let's hope they stay fit, healthy, and they're playing great football. And as we lead into the Asia Cup, and oh, geez, less than 5 months now. Geez, that's coming up quick. That's exciting times.
yeah, Stan Sport, I believe, has got the WSL. So for people who
Oh, Ripper.
jumped onto that for the Premier League, you'll also get access to the WSL as well, which is a nice little add-on. And I think if they're starting next weekend, that would be the international break. So it gives them a bit of free air in between the international games.
Excellent. And Kevin Muscat's title bid, Chief, how's it going in China? Had a very difficult weekend.
Oh, mate, he dropped 2 points in a 1-1 draw with Tianjin Genman Tiger. I think that was during the week. So they were third, 1 point behind Shanghai Shenhua with 8 games to go. And then overnight, last night, they lost 4-1 to top of the table, Chengdu Rongcheng. So it is really tight in China. So we look at Chengdu, who Muscat lost to. They're on 50, Shanghai Shenhua on 49, Beijing Guan on 48, and Shanghai Port, who have played a game more than Beijing and Shanghai Shenhua, on 48 as well. So very, very tight with probably 7 games to go now. All 4 of those teams at the top, they're going to be in either the ACL or ACL2 competitions. So busy schedule to round out the end of the Chinese season. And let's hope that Kevin Muscat can get his Shanghai Port over the line.
Yeah, look, Chief, 18th of September is the first week of Champions League, jam-packed in the middle. After that, Shanghai Port play Beijing 3 days after the Champions League round one.
That would be a
Well,
crucial one, wouldn't it?
mate, they're all playing each other. We said this a couple of weeks ago. This could go either way. Don't give up hope. They're only 2 points off. Obviously, we've got a couple of teams to make up a game, but then still within touching distance. This is going down to the last game of the year, I reckon. And Champions League just makes it even more complicated with depth and fitness. So that'll put challenges to all 4 teams in this massive title race.
Yep. Let's look at Japan. Makita Zelvia, they won their Japan Cup quarterfinal 3-0 over Kashima Antlers, which is a good win. Mitch Duke got 10 minutes off the bench for them. Obviously, he missed out on that Socceroos selection. Over in the USA, do you want to touch on Archie Goodwin, mate?
Yeah, got his debut, brought on late for a 1-0 win over New York Red Bulls, and also come on late in a 2-1 win over New England today. Charlotte, Chief, I reported when Archie Goodwin went there, they were in 7th. They've won now 8 in a row and now sit third and are on fire. So he's certainly picked an up-and-coming emerging team. Nashville FC for our other Aussies.
They're going the other way, mate.
Yes, they are. Well, they're 4th now. They've dropped 1 spot. They were 2nd when we reported a few weeks ago, but they went down 1-0 to Atlanta. Yazbek subbed off in 83 minutes, but still starting. And New York City, Aidan O'Neill played a full game. His side going down to 2-1 to DC United, who was last. And Cole Rolls will take the bragging rights in the much-needed win for DC, because I can't even remember when they last won. But anyway, they've finally got a win, and it's over New York City, which has cost them dearly.
Yeah, well done to the boys. And then just to finish off with our overseas wrap, North Carolina Courage, Courtney Vine got 16 minutes off the bench in their 2-0 loss to Kansas City. All right, mate, heaps of overseas action. Good to keep a track of everyone and what they're progressing with over in Europe and all around the world. All right, we'll take a quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk our national teams. We'll be back soon.
See you soon.
If you like our content, why not give us a follow on the socials where we provide lots of updates between podcast episodes. We're most active on Instagram, BlueSky, and X. Just search the Aussie game and you should be able to find us. All right, let's get back into it. All right, we're back, Mopper. Let's talk our national teams. We're not going to touch too much on the Socceroos. We recorded a pod on Friday just after the squad was announced and gave our thoughts and opinions on that one. So if you haven't done yet, go back and listen to that one. But Mopper, any kind of final thoughts on the Socceroos squad or anything that's come to mind since we recorded?
No, just fantastic that the response from everybody, how excited they are about this squad, Chief, and can't wait for the game in Canberra. Hopefully it's sold out. And will they blow the horn, Chief, over there in Canberra?
I hope not.
Oh. Good, good point. No, exciting times ahead for the Socceroos. I think we've got the right balance and mix. And jump on and give us your comments. And if you want to jump on and listen to our breakdown of the Socceroos squad that we recorded on Friday. All right, Chief. What about yourself?
I'll throw one at you. Potential change of formation.
Not a chance. I've watched Popper for his whole career, and I don't see too many changes, Chief. So I don't think there'll be too many surprises. I think he's just got to think of if he starts Irresistible and Segicic, which is a possibility, how do you get the best out of him and where? I think that's probably his thought process, but I reckon he's already had that thought for quite a while as he's watched these boys start off in the championship. But he might not start them both. I'm not sure, but we'll soon find out.
You need a playmaker around one of them, maybe like a Rustic, like that type of. But
Yeah,
it would be, mate. It would be so exciting to see both of them on that in that first 11. That would be.
Would be. I don't think Hurstich is fit enough yet to start. I think we'll see him come off the bench like he is for his club. He's been out for a while and is probably the least fittest out of the whole entire squad. So I think we've seen Portsmouth start Superman in the 10 and out on the right. But I think, he didn't see much ball last night. Only got one shot. So, is he more effective in either pattern? No, I'm not sure. We'll have to just wait and see. I don't think he'll start both though. I'm pretty confident that he'll put Martin Ball out on the right, and but like you said before on the podcast, he's seen these players before. So is it the first opportunity to, get some flair? If you're going to start Irankunda and Segicic, it's got to be at home, yeah?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. No, I think. Could you imagine the anticipation that build inside the Canberra Stadium if they win a free kick that's about 10 yards outside the box and Irankunda's on the field, mate?
He might have to tell Hustich, have you seen my reels? Because he's quite a good striker of the ball too.
I don't think anyone's taking that off Irankunda. He's on the pitch.
I think the keeper's going to stand over the other side of the post.
Well, it doesn't matter. He can put them both sides. So.
Oh, it's going to be exciting, isn't it? It's just great to talk about. Yeah, that's just well rewarded for a great start to the championship there for Irankunda and Segicic. But yes, there's a lot more players that we want to see too. So yes, I don't think change of formation, Chief. I think this is a World Cup formation that he's set on, and I think you'll see. I think you'll see the same. I don't think there'll be much difference. It's just whether he wants to play with width or those two tens in behind.
All right, mate. We'll see. All right, let's talk about some absolutely amazing news during the week. We were tracking the under-16 girls as they progressed through the Asian under-16 girls championship, and they've gone on and won it, a 1-0 win over Thailand in the final. Amazing result for them. They went through the tournament unbeaten, and yeah, what a fantastic performance and what a great achievement for these girls.
Yeah, 12 teams in Asia. Look, at a couple of big guns were missing, but again, we talked about how difficult it is and what experience it can provide these young girls playing over in their first international tournament. And they've raised the bar, Chief, and done the job. We talked about they've got to set a standard, and they certainly did that. And they made a huge statement over there, and they've probably unearthed a lot of potential. I think the Emerging Matildas camp has played a significant part in this, and it's rolled on. With the timing of it, it's just been perfect. So we look forward to the development. I will say one thing though, Chief. If anything, if Football Australia is listening, go now get this group, and then go get some European teams and test ourselves against the best of the best. Because if you want to go to next year's Asia Cup and World Cup in the future, you need to go test yourself now rather than wait for the moment in the big tournaments. That's my only tip. If we can unearth these girls, which we have, now go test them against higher level opposition, and that will get the best out of them and will grow their skills and talent much faster than what it is going to at the moment.
It is an amazing achievement, but I also think it's a tournament that we should expect to win given the caliber, because we are only playing those teams in the southeast region. So as you said, we're not coming up against some of the higher nations like Japan and Korea's. So I think, yes, it is an amazing achievement, but certainly a country our size and with our football pedigree, I think it's one we should be looking to win. And it is different to the under 23s who won that tournament, who were coming up against full national teams, where this is, six under 16s versus under 16s. So, look, I don't want to knock the achievement. It's an incredible achievement, and absolutely congratulations to the girls. But I'm sure that pre-tournament they had set their sights on winning this, and they've gone and done it. So credit to them. Kaya Jugovic, she won the most valuable player for the tournament. I believe she was also the captain of the squad as well, and the best goalkeeper went to the Australian Annabelle Kroll as well. So yeah, not only did they take away the big trophy, but some player individual awards as well. So yeah, congratulations to the girls.
And one of our followers and supporters have put the post up of all the girls' goals. So there's some crackers in there. So go and watch
Oh,
the
absolute screams! Great.
yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's some crackers in there. Get a look at these highlight reels. They're fantastic. And look, we wish all the girls the very best in their next emerging steps. And what a fantastic exposure in Asia to play over there for the first time as a young group. I think it'll put them in good stead. Now just keep raising the bar and give these girls every opportunity to keep growing, because that's the key. This age group is crucial. We've seen it before, but what a rise of the younger Matildas teams, Chief. 23s winning the trophy, as you said. The 20s qualifying for the Asian Cup, and now the 16s doing this. So, women's football in great health.
We couldn't have asked for much more out of these groups as well, as you said. So yeah, amazing achievement from the girls. So well done, and yeah, we look forward to seeing some of those names pop up in the A League this season, and then continue to progress in their career. Let's jump over to the under 23s. Their squad was announced this week for the under 23 Asian Cup qualifiers. So they are set to face Northern Mariana Islands on the 3rd of September, Timor-Leste on the 6th of September, and China on the 9th of September. So that's going to start this week, actually, this Wednesday. That's come up really quick.
Yep,
But
that's
some
probably
big
a
names.
reason why Keely Adamson wasn't in the QPR squad too. I'd say, Chief.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fair point as well. So yeah, the squad, we're not going to read out every single name, but there's a good mix of some A League talent, as you mentioned, Keely Adamson over there at QPR. You got Giuseppe Povolina, who's playing at Vancouver, Jed Drew at Heidelberg. Yeah, Oscar Priestman, I mean, there he's just moved over to Motherwell. Segicic was picked, but then obviously is in the full Socceroos squad. So yeah, good mix of talent there. You got some great keepers in there. Patrick Beach, who's at Melbourne City, Dylan Preach Cullen at Central Coast Mariners. So yeah, I think Alexander Robertson is at MacArthur. Apologies if I've got that wrong, but yeah, look, some great talent in that team, and look, they should have no problems at all progressing in those qualifiers against those teams. So, but again, it's just another opportunity to get them together and start to form those formations, because this age group is obviously going to be looking to qualify for the Olympics, which we failed to do in Paris. So it's certainly something we should have our eye on.
Yep, and these games are obviously the path to the Asia Cup in Saudi Arabia in 2026. So lots to play for and lots to build on. So you're 100% right. They are crucial games, every one of them, that they're together. And
Yeah, and then also announced this week was the Joeys. So this one is not a competitive tournament, but it's something that you've spoken a lot about before, Mopper, about what we should be trying to do for these younger age groups. So do you want to take this one?
Oh, look at these fixtures, Chief. On the 11th and 9th, we play Negator. I get that. Yep. And on the 13th, 2 days later, we play Wales. Fantastic. And then on the 15th, we play Japan. So this is the stuff I'm talking about, this initiative tournament. And obviously, a lot of these boys have come from that emerging Socceroos camp as well. But what three internationals that we're going to be playing, Chief, in Negata? Fantastic. This is the stuff we're talking about. Yeah, great, getting great competitions and great exposure for these boys, because I guarantee you they wouldn't be playing too much football at the moment. So they're going to get a good crack right now to take their first international tournament away from home.
Yeah, there's some actual names, some recognisable names in there. Akola Khan, who of course played for Sydney FC. He was in that game that they lost to Auckland FC in the Australia Cup. You got Aston Reed, who was the player of the tournament in the emerging Socceroos camp as well. So, and then you got Beckham Baker, who's very highly touted at Melbourne City. Yeah, there's some names in there that have already started to kind of break through with their club, or are starting to get a bit of a name for themselves. So it'd be absolutely fascinating to see how they go in these games. They are friendlies, but they'll certainly be wanting to show their worth. And we saw that the Japan in the under 20s Asian Cup last year, a lot of those players actually weren't getting a look in the J League, as opposed to our under 20s who were in our equivalent A League. So I wonder if it's a bit similar in the under 17s, whether they're not getting the same opportunity. I mentioned a couple of names that have already played, full for their full club team. So I wonder if it's similar, and I wonder if it's some in a weird way with our A League being a bit not having the finances, that we are starting to give these opportunities to these kids coming through.
Mate, I just love the fact that we get to pick a squad and take them on tour. It, like the emerging Socceroos camp, like with the Matildas. This is I think one of the most vital ages where we can either really develop at speed. I think this is where we see these boys and girls not get exposed. And I think that's when you can't go to these tournaments, the real ones, the Asia Cup and the World Cup, just fresh, just picking a squad. But because how difficult is it to try to find the best 16 and 17-year-olds? It would be extremely the hardest task out of all the age groups. So that definitely, like, well done to Australian football on this one. And obviously, I wish all the boys and the girls the best, and especially the 23s and the boys that are going overseas, because this is a fantastic opportunity and stepping stone into your international career.
The graphic that Football Australia put out says the 27th International Youth Football Negata. So that to me says that this is the 27th iteration of this tournament. So it's not like there's not options for Football Australia to be putting these teams in. I think it has become a greater emphasis over the past probably 18 to 24 months to start progressing these underage teams into tournaments, and let's hope. I don't see any reason why we couldn't keep progressing it like this, but let's hope that that's the case and it just keeps happening.
Yep, absolutely. The more money and investment we can invest at this age group, the only stronger we'll be as a country. You've seen it, like we talked about, some of those England players that have played over 80, 90 caps at every junior level. Not to say that we have that amount of football here close to us, but we definitely have to seek opportunities to even get to even halfway in that mark, because obviously they're closer. Europe and cost
Yeah.
wise will be a lot more easier than over here in Australia. So, but good luck to them all, and great progression, and wish the boys well. I cannot wait to follow these three games coming up, and so hopefully we can get some vision or some YouTube on there where we can watch these boys or watch a bit of highlights so we can see how they go.
All right, and the PFA announced their footballer of the 2025 Footballer of the Year nominees during the week, and obviously heavily heavily skewed towards our Matildas and our Socceroos. So for the Women's Footballer of the Year, the nominees are Ellie Carpenter, Steph Catley, Alex Chidiac, Caitlin Ford, Mary Fowler, and Tamika Yallop. For our men's, it's Aziz Bayic, Martin Boyle, Jackson Irvine, Nicholas Milanovic, Alex Paulson, and Ryan Teague. For our young women's footballer of the year, again, Mary Fowler nominated in this category, Isabel Gomez, Holly McNamara, Alana Murphy, Jess Nash, and Jamila Rankin. And then I found this one interesting actually because all six of these players were in the A League last season and have since moved on to overseas opportunities. So Casey Boss, Noah Bodic, Archie Goodwin, Nicholas Milanovic, Adrian Segacic, and Ryan Teague. So yeah, great for those players to be getting that recognition from the PFA.
Yeah, give them 6 medals each, Chief. That's what I reckon. No, well done. No, it's great recognition from obviously all the nominees. They've had a fantastic career. Any thoughts on who's going to win that one?
Oh, it's tough. It is tough.
Let's start with the Women's Football of the Year. What's Chief's pick?
How can you go past Steph Catley?
Yeah, I agree. Champions League winner. Yeah. What about
Well,
Caitlin
Caitlin
Ford's in the
Ford
same
also.
team? Yeah. Woo.
Okay.
She's our captain, Steph Catley. What a leader. All attributes Steph Catley for me.
The men. Hmm. Oh, tough one actually.
I'm
Pretty
going,
even field there.
yeah, I'm going captain fantastic, Jackson Irvine. He's had a great Socceroos campaign there, Chief. He's really got us through those World Cup qualifiers. So I'm going Mr. Fantastic Jackson Irvine. He's can't wait to see him get back in the pitch.
All
What
right, I'll
about
go
yourself?
Martin Boyle. He had a great season at Hibs last year, so I'll go with Martin Boyle. Our young women's football of the year. Well,
It's,
probably Mary Fowler, I'd
yeah,
say.
you can't go past Fowler, but isn't there some exciting names there? Oh,
Yeah.
Lana Murphy just moved over to FC Sand. Oh, geez, eh?
Well, that's our
Just
next gen of Matildas, isn't it? The rest,
yeah,
all of them, really, aren't they? Like,
yeah, they're doing fantastic. All of them have got good clubs there too. They're playing great. Isabel Gomez, one to watch for the future as well. Geez, some exciting talent there. What about the nominees for the Harry Kuehl Medal, Chief?
hmm, I'd say it's our dual Golden Boot winners, Goodwin and Segacic.
Yeah, we hope Goodwin gets some time over in Charlotte, but Segacic might just have edged him with those good start in the. Oh, but it's last year, isn't it? So he did score a lot of goals off the bench for Sydney FC, didn't he? But Ryan Teague had the debut Socceroos last year too, so he might be a sneaky surprise winner. Noah Bodic, he had a great year. Even
Yep,
Archie Goodwin, they're all fantastic players. So
all good nominees. So
we've
yeah,
got we've got to go one, Chief. What's your one? Sorry, Archie Goodwin?
I'll go Archie. Yeah,
I, I'll, I love Superman, but I'm going to have to go Ryan Teague. I think the Socceroos cap last year did well with the World Cup qualifiers. He come in at a crucial time.
fair enough
Oh,
on that one. All right,
some
let's
recognition.
yeah, Lydia Williams. She's announced her retirement from professional football during the week. Obviously, an absolute champion for club and country. Let's run through some of her achievements. So, 4 times A League champion, 4 times A League Premier, 4 times goalkeeper of the year, 2 times PFA footballer of the year, 104 Matildas appearances, 5 Women's World Cups, 2 Olympics, and 1 time Ninja A League All Star. So, what a fantastic career for Lydia Williams. She was such a important piece for the Matildas for such a long time.
Yeah, started career back in Canberra United, Chief. 46 games between in 2008 made a debut, and obviously added on to those 104 caps with 14 caps at Australia under 20 level. What about the World Cups? Wow,
Yeah.
5 World Cups. She's an absolute stalwart. What I hope she stays with football, Chief, and goes some coaching or in those younger sides. She would be fantastic to capture.
I think she's actually got some kind of an exec role. Maybe we'll have a look at that and bring it next week.
Oh,
But I'm
she
pretty sure she's already lined up with something.
excellent. She'll be a wealth of knowledge, and we wish her all the best and congratulations on an amazing career. You deserve all the plaudits, Lydia Williams. Fantastic job.
Yep. All right. One final bit of admin work because the single match tickets for the Women's Asian Cup 2026, which of course is hosted in Australia, they go on sale this Friday, 5th of September. So the 5th of September is for Visa card holders. And then for all other accepted payment methods, they go on sale on the 11th of September. So the group tickets are out already, but yeah, there's a single match tickets and they are going to go quick, Mopper.
Yes, all sold out. Well, and should be for every game. Let's hopefully we can get to some other games as well. I can't wait. I'm excited. I've got all my tickets. I'm ready to rock and roll. I can't wait for this tournament to start, Chief. This is fantastic. Just shows how popular this Asia Cup's going to be. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yep, absolutely, mate. Yeah, so jump on this Friday, 5th of September, if you need some more tickets or if you chose not to get the group packages. But yeah, they expect them to go pretty quickly, particularly for the Matildas game. So make sure you're onto that one. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk everything that's happening at home. Thanks for listening to the Aussie Game podcast. If you enjoy our content, we'd really appreciate you giving us a rating or a review on your preferred podcast platform. And if you do know of any Australian football fans that might enjoy it as well, sharing the podcast would mean a lot to us. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, we're back and we're going to talk Australia Cup. There's plenty of excitement happening. There was a huge game last night and then another one on Sunday as we record on the Sunday night. Let's start with the big one, Heidelberg 2, Auckland FC 0. This is the third straight game that Heidelberg have beaten A-League opposition. What an absolute run this team is on. And I don't think that you're going to want to face them in the final with the form and the confidence they're in. Looking at the game, Auckland definitely probably dominated the first half, had some better opportunities, but that's not to say that Heidelberg didn't have their chances as well. They missed a fairly decent chance with a one-on-one. They always looked threatening, but Auckland probably shaded the game. But then second half, Heidelberg really came into it. What a fantastic performance. Got those 2 second half goals and look decently comfortable. In the end, they probably even had a chance really late to even make it 3-0, but well deserved for them to win that semi-final and to get into the Australia Cup final.
Yeah, they absorbed some pressure, Chief, and they tactically waited, and then they pounced. And when they pounced, there was no way Auckland were coming back. They absolutely mentally smashed them when they scored that first goal and put them under all sorts of pressure. And they absolutely played a wonderful game. And congratulations to Heidelberg, founded in 1958 by the Greek immigrants from Florina in Greece. They've produced Socceroos, Chief. They've had such a successful custodians of Australian football, and this is recognisable and rewardable for all that they've done over their time. And I reckon Heidelberg would have had a very big night the other night, and it's well deserved. And Chief, congratulations to you. You've picked them every week, and not only that, you said that they'll do it in 90 minutes and it'll be 2-0. I
And you
quite
laughed and you laughed at me.
unquote, I laughed at you, yes. Oh, credit to you, my friend. You must have been excited, mate. I was looking at the 65th. I thought Auckland, mate, they're just waiting and waiting, but Heidelberg, they got them. They were just outsmarted them again, Chief. And wow, we said last week, can they win it? Well, we know the date. We're just waiting on the venue. It'll be very interesting where they play this final. Their opponents obviously was decided today in Newcastle. But all credit to the Burgers. They have done an absolute sensational job. And it's what football's all about. It's the story, it's the club, it's the history. And, for all football fans, this is a wonderful moment.
Oh, absolutely. And looking through their lineup they put out last night, they did have a little bit of A-League experience in Sabet Nyor and Lesiotis as well. But Yokokawa and Juach with the goals in the second half, they just tactically they got it really spot on, and they just, as you said, they absorbed the pressure when they needed to. They broke well, but they also really impressed with just how they knocked the ball around. They even late in the game, they managed the game well. It's not like they were kind of feigning injury and trying to run out the clock. They were just keeping the ball. They're just, there's neat little triangles, knocking the ball around, waiting for their opportunities to get on the break. A really impressive team. And did you say they finished fourth in Victoria in the NPL?
No, second.
Second, sorry. Well, I mean, it just shows that they're not even winning the Victorian NPL, and they're getting up. And this is the A-League Premiers, the team that dominated last season. And yes, I know that they're not in season. They probably don't have full match fitness, But to take it up to them and beat them, credit to Heidelberg.
Yeah, they played a lot of games, Chief, in the last month. Probably hurt their title run. They were controversially beaten by Avondale. Depends what team you support, though. 2-1 in like injury time, long injury time. But they certainly challenged Avondale all the way. This is just an outstanding coaching performance and playing performance by all the owners, team, players, coaching, and staff. They've done an amazing job and deserve every plaudit. They have, but their home fans, that just hearing the crowd, I think Auckland got shell shocked. I don't think they knew what to do, Chief, because they just couldn't break them down. And the goals come from their own mistakes. Auckland, they've got put under too much pressure, and the persistence of Heidelberg just won over in the end. And you're right, they weren't coming back. They just held the ball so well and so much confidence. Yeah, I just full credit. It's just an amazing story. And with this is what we love. It's the second state team to make the final. So they're the second ones to do it. But no one's won it yet, Chief. So can they win it? That's the big question. Newcastle, Young Guns, the moving club, they were on fire again today. They've got plenty of goals in them, and Heidelberg's shown a great resilience in defence and on the counter. So it's going to be a cracking final, whoever hosts this final. Let's hope it's a good venue because, oh, mate, it's going to be an exciting one. Could go either way.
Yeah, full credit to their coach, John Anastasiadis, as well. Tactically got it right on the night, but he's also you mentioned how many games they've played of late, and they just seem to balance that really well. So credit to John and his staff, and plenty of people calling for him to get an opportunity in the A League the next time a job comes up, and I don't think anyone could disagree with that. The way that he's managed his run, he obviously he's so proud of what he's done at Heidelberg, but you just never know if a job comes up during the season. I think clubs could do a lot worse than bringing Anastasiadis in. So watch this space, I suppose. But first and foremost, they've got NPL finals and they've also got an Australia Cup to prepare for. So they're one team in the final, Mopper. What about the other game, the other semi final?
Yeah, geez, it was attacking. Shots everywhere. Ball movement was fantastic, but the only thing that lacked in that final was Avondale's defence. They gave Newcastle way too much space and time on the ball, and you just cannot do it. They got punished 2-0 early on in that one, the first 15 minutes. Newcastle looking hot. But credit to them again, that they're fantastic with the ball, Avondale. They were great. They were moving it around. They were creating chances. And really, if they had the killer blow, they would have gone with Newcastle in the first 15 minutes with two great chances they gave up. They just had to not be selfish, and they were. They should have just laid off the pass. It would have been 2-2. But again, credit to them. They got back in the game. They got a goal before halftime. They went in 2-1. They got some confidence. They come back out off the second half. Newcastle looked a bit fragile. They were defensively, all bit all over the place, but they're a young, up and coming team running movement off the ball. Probably need, if I look at the A League, Newcastle's going to need a hard nut in there to break some stuff down and just get some composure in the sixth role. But again, Avondale just gave Newcastle too much space when Newcastle had the ball and let them out too easy. But to obviously Avondale's credit, they nearly scored and hit the post, but then got a penalty, which was deserved. It was a foul in the box, hand over the shoulder, got back to 2-2, and Avondale really put them under pressure for about 5 or 10 minutes. But again, they stood off some Newcastle attackers and they got punished with two quality finishes at the end there. And again, Newcastle young guns just proved to be the difference. But I'll tell you what, Avondale's show was fantastic and they put on a very good final on down there, and they should be credited for their great run. They've done really well and they've got a lot of attack about them. They just need to fix up their press and structures off the ball because they just gave Newcastle way too much time.
Yeah, I didn't happen to capture this game, but just looking at some of the stats and the performances there, obviously, yeah, through that midfield, Burgess and Battleado, Aquilina, Wilmering with the assists there, so plenty of creativity there, and good to see Eli Adams having an impact off the bench too. He was fantastic
Oh,
for
he's
them last.
scored a great goal. He scored a great goal, Chief. Yeah, beautiful goal. Cut in from the right hand side on his left foot. Bang! It was super
That's it.
finish.
Yeah, that's a typical Eli Adams type of goal as well. So yeah, he's a
Hi-
quality player, and for him to be coming off the
Height,
bench.
high praise for Mark Milligan too, Chief. A lot of players just singing the praises of how he's galvanised this young group. But if they're going in the A-League, Chief, they're going to need some experience in there. I think Milligan just needs to have that balance. So I'm sure he would have seen that, obviously being 2-0 up and fragilely, letting Avondale back in. But credit to them. They're in the final for the first time. And we're just all super excited to see where this venue is going to be for this final for the Hahn Cup. So look,
Maybe Millsy can clone himself and stick himself in the Newcastle Jets midfield.
did do a hammy. He's
clone
still,
a clone a
he's
20-year-old version of himself, mate.
yeah. He still looks fit, but he's getting a bit grey hair. So I think he'll just stick to the coaching because it sounds like he's doing a fantastic job.
All right, so you mentioned the final. We still don't know the venue as yet. I believe Football Australia are going to decide that this week. It's an interesting one because you'd say that Heidelberg's ground's too small. I have really hope they don't move it to kind of another venue like an Amy Park. I think Amy Park's out anyway, but I would like to think that they would play it at a ground that makes sense. I know there's like a commercial element as well, but we need one that makes sense given the two teams that have qualified.
I'm sure both fans would love it. Yeah, so hopefully one of those venues gets to host it. So Heidelberg's had a few home games, so maybe it's Newcastle's turn to host. But yeah, probably a predicament that just needs to be sorted out so fans can organise travel because it's only just over a month away. So I think it's important. I think it might be. Is it on the October long weekend too? That could be a pivotal point as well.
Yeah, it is on that Saturday night. So they kind of squeezed it in between the AFL grand final will be the week before, the NRL grand final would be on the Sunday. This will be on the Saturday night, presumably. So they've kind of it's hard because you've got a lot of attention on those two big grand finals. So they've tried to kind of squeeze it in there somewhere before the A League season starts,
Yeah.
and
Well,
obviously they've got to balance everything else too.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's like as I said, yeah, can't wait to see where it is, and hopefully it's at a venue to be decided. But yeah, so they can get those ticket sales pumping because I know Eva Ground would love to host this one, and we'll see where it ends up. All
I'm
right.
not sure that when we saw the round of 32 draw that many would have picked that it would be a Heidelberg Newcastle final.
We did say Newcastle's the moving club, and they did knock out your cup favourites, and quite convincingly. They're both the two teams in form. Yeah, the Newcastle look the fittest and the sharpest out of the A League sides. Not what I think they're the best A League side at the moment, but they're certainly on their way up. And Heidelberg has been a great club in Victoria, nearly leading all the way there before got pipped at the end from Avondale. So, they're both in red hot form and both at different parts of their season. But yeah, it's going to be a cracking game, and it's going to be probably Mark Milligan's first tactical test. Yeah, and I know you're talking about Heidelberg's coach, Chief. He has coached in the A League as an assistant, so you're probably right. Yeah, he deserves an opportunity if he wants to proceed that avenue.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so yeah, we look forward to seeing the venue for that one. It's a bit of a gap now to the final, so hopefully we don't lose any momentum in that one. But yeah, exciting to see those two, and it's a great storyline as well. We're going to see a new Australia Cup champion, so that's very cool.
And Heidelberg's in the Australian Championship. Yes, that right, Chief?
That's the one. Yep.
Yep. So they've got some exciting times ahead as well to test themselves to push in that space because that's obviously being recognised as a second tier. So watch this space for any Heidelberg fans in the future. On the right path.
All right, let's touch on some news happening with a few A-League clubs, and it's hard to start anywhere else but Western United. Seems to be just going backwards and forwards with this one. So it looked like on the Thursday that, so this is through Joey Lynch on X, that Football Australia's independent appeals body has set a hearing date for Western United's appeal against the stripping of the A-League's licenses for September 2. So that would be Tuesday in this upcoming week. And then on the Friday, APL released a statement that said the APL has been informed that WNG Football Club Limited, the owner and operator of Western United Football Club, was placed into liquidation today by order of the Federal Court of Australia. With this, liquidators have been appointed following the federal court application commenced via the Australian Taxation Office. It is understood there are avenues for appeal that may be available to interested parties. Now, at that time, it looked like everything was done and dusted, and that United weren't going to be progressing. But then on that same day, Western United released their own statement saying that Western United Football Club is pleased to advise that an application made this afternoon to stay the court's orders was successful. The winding up has been stayed pending an application to review the court's decision substantively. And once that application is made next week, the stay will operate until the appeal is heard. So I really don't know where everything's standing because, uh, on one respect, it feels like that they're not going to be proceeding into next season, and then there's appeal process, and they're looking to extend things out. I just really, at this point, I really feel for the players and the staff there at Western United. They feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment, and I'm sure that they just want to know either way what's happening. So yeah, just really feel for them, and hopefully we get some more firm news either way this week, so that everyone can move forward and make some firm decisions.
Yeah, look, it's a mess. Let's just be honest. And it's not good leading into an A-League season where you can't release a draw
Yep.
either. It impacts everyone, not just them. It'll impact the clubs too, depending on which way it goes. But it's not looking good either way for any situation. And look, the people impacted, but unfortunately, the Western United are in this position. So they're in the predicament because they put themselves in there. And, Football Australia wanted obviously got some challenges in what to do, and obviously we're waiting for the appeal process, and whether we get this clarity next week so everyone can move forward, we'll soon find out. So it's a challenge for everybody. Everyone's impacted at every point and level. We do wish Western United all the best in their process and procedure, but it's getting very difficult and having major impacts throughout the league now. And it's taken good news stories off the front page, Chief, which is a challenge as well.
Yeah, well, 7 weeks, as you said, with the fixture, 7 weeks it would be, as we're recording, from when the first round would be. And yeah, as I said, still no fixtures. In the statement that the APL released, they did say that they were hopeful to have a draw within the next 2 weeks. But then obviously this Western United statement has come out after that. So I don't know if that then delays this again. But yeah, just not good for anyone concerned, and it just needs to be resolved as quickly as possible.
Yeah, look, if they could take a hold of it, I'm sure they would. But obviously, there's a due diligence process, and yeah, that's what's further delaying these obviously the process. So we'll just have to watch this space, and obviously we'll have our thoughts and you know our thoughts on this matter more deeply as once it's finalised whether they're in or out. Because obviously we probably could do another episode just on Western United and some of the challenges with the A League and how to run this going forward. Because these are hard lessons learnt, and it's not good for the game, and it's not good, especially when you're having so many great moments that we've got challenges like this in the background, which, it's life, it's business, these things happen, but it's happening all too often. And we've really want to break it down for, the better of football in Australia. Otherwise, we can't move forward.
Yep, well said, mate. Yeah, we'll watch this space, and hopefully we've got some more firm news to bring everyone next week on the Western United situation. But yeah, let's hope it's resolved as soon as possible. Let's jump over to Sydney FC. There've been some movements in their women's team. Princess Sabini, she's left the club after 10 years to pursue an overseas opportunity. She's been an absolute stalwart for Sydney FC over so many seasons. So 3 championships for her, 3 premierships, and then she was in the All Stars women's team in 2024. So she owes Sydney FC absolutely nothing. She's been a great contributor to that team from a very young age, and then she's looking now for an overseas opportunity. So yeah, credit to her, and hopefully she seeks what she's looking for the overseas opportunity.
Yeah, she's 25 years of age, so she's still got plenty of football left in her, Chief. Any clubs linked, or I can't see anything on my news feed. Have you got anything linked from Mabini?
No, nothing linked, but I think yeah, it's just probably for us to acknowledge her contribution to Sydney FC and see where she lands. There's players heading over to Europe. So whether that's on the cards or potentially somewhere else around the world. So we'll watch this space and see if there's anything by the time we record next week.
Yeah.
Incoming to Sydney FC, Panama international forward Riley Tanner. She's joined for the 25-26 season. Now I remember Riley in those games that we played against Panama. She was pretty electric, pretty exciting. So I know that Sydney FC is your tip to take out the Women's A-League this
Oh, I
season.
never
So
said tip. I just said they're coming strong. We know Melbourne City's right up there, but I said they're going to have a much better season than last year, but they're building nicely. I just let's get that clear. But yes, they are emerging with some very good signings, Chief. And you're right. Riley Tanner was fantastic over here, and geez, she'll be a great addition.
yeah,
Another great signing by Sydney FC.
I think they'll
The
score plenty of goals. They'll score plenty of goals.
Yeah,
That's for
absolutely.
certain. But
Uh,
they got some exciting players in that attacking third.
they're building. They're building, Chief. I don't know whether they can knock off Melbourne, but they're going to give them a run for their money.
All right, let's go to Brisbane Roar. They had a 1-0 preseason win over Peninsula Power, just a local club for them to keep preparing for their season. But I've been pretty impressed with what they've done in the off-season. I think they're going to be much improved in the A-League men's competition. Melbourne Victory, we spoke about them last week. Well, I certainly had my concerns about the squad that they were putting together. And they've announced this week that a few of their players have been promoted into their first team. So I think potentially for them, they're looking at a bit of that youth to bring through. And, they obviously back these players to be able to bring them through and think that they can make an impact in the first team. So it looks like that might be their approach. There's 5 names there. So, I mean, you don't bring through that many if you're not confident for at least a few of them to see what they can do.
Yeah, they've always developed well. Both Melbourne clubs have done a fantastic job, and I reckon Melbourne Victory Chief will be watching what's happening in Western United very closely. I think that's why they're holding all firm on offers going forward.
Oh, mate, there's some players at Western United, both in the men's and women's, that
Oh.
I think a lot of clubs will be looking at, and not just in their first teams. Western United are renowned for having a great academy, and saw someone made a great point that if these are young kids in the area, they're not really going to be travelling any further. So Victory and City might be just licking their lips, just thinking, well, here's a talent factory that we might be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, definitely watch this space in this one. And for the women chief, Melbourne Victory is pleased to confirm that Courtney Newborn, sorry, and Rachel Lowe and Nikki Flannery have all re-signed with the club for the upcoming A-League season. Melbourne Victory is pleased to confirm that Rising Stars also Laura Pickett and Ella O'Grady have re-signed with the club for the upcoming A-League season. So Melbourne Victory always competitive as well in the Ninja League.
Yeah, well, I think they lost to Mariners in the final last year, right? So,
Yep,
yeah,
100%.
looking to looking to go on better potentially. But I think Melbourne City is the team to beat, and they've made some signings during the week as well. So they've picked up Devon Jackson from the Newcastle Jets, and they've also picked up 18 Keane from Canberra United. Keane was fantastic in that under 23s tournament. They won as well. So that's a nice addition to Melbourne City. I said to you offline during the week that I think it's not just that they're looking to get the domestic trophies. They're gunning for that Asian Champions League, I think. So yeah, these additions certainly speak to building lots of strength and depth in the squad.
Yeah, look, we've seen a lot of great players leave the A-League in the last year, but it looks like there's plenty of youth coming through to fill the void, and we've see that highlighted in the Hung Cup as well. So great signings to Melbourne City. They continue to build. Adelaide United Chief Women's Team have re-signed 8 players on Thursday. Surprise packets last season. Where do you think they'll sit now?
Yeah, it's interesting. They've had a bit of turnover there at Adelaide United, but yeah, I think most of the A-League women's clubs are looking to sign these players in these big bunches and get their teams back together. Unfortunately, it seems to be the situation still with the women's, and this obviously just comes down to finances. That it's only these 1-year deals that they're looking at, so it's hard for these players to get that security, and for the clubs. We spoke about Chidiac a few weeks back, but for her having signed a long-term deal. It means that they could actually demand a fee when they sell her on, but it's hard with the finances at the moment. I get that, but yeah, Adelaide United were quite surprising last season, so potentially they're looking to go a bit better. So, but yeah, bringing in more of their signings. Over at Perth Glory, their women's team, they've signed Roller Butterwaya on a 2-year contract with the club, and the men's team have signed Gabriel Popovic. The quote said he's returned on a short-term contract, so I don't know if that means maybe up until January or whether that's for the full season. They didn't really confirm either way, but yeah, he's come back in to the squad. He's previously been at Perth Glory, so we'll see how he goes.
Okay, and for the women, Chief, which you just spoke about, as we move over to the Wanderers, the men had a Western Sydney Wanderers had a 3-1 friendly over the Blacktown Spartans. They were just up the road. Costa Barbarousas got 2 goals and Awan Luai with the other goal. So a good win there, just building their fitness for the season.
Yeah,
Over to the yeah, go Chief. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I think I mentioned last week Oscar Priestman potentially leaving with that midfield. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they go and if they have got someone coming through the ranks or will they look to bring in or another player for that spot.
Yeah, watch this space and the Mariners, Chief. The women. Where are you
Yeah,
sitting
they've
with them?
got a new manager, Corey Babington, the new A-League women's head coach for the 2025-26 season. Of course, Emily Husband led them to the championship last season, and now she's in the Matilda setup. So Babington brings a wealth of coaching and leadership experience to the club over 20 years in Australian football, and they mentioned him being a strong fit for the Mariners due to his outstanding reputation for developing talent, fostering high performance cultures, and producing players who succeed on the domestic and international stage. So it's a huge thing for the Mariners, both in the men's and women's, to have a manager that's able to develop players because they just can't afford to be going out and spending high money on these players. So their model really is to be able to scout well, bring them in, develop, and kind of sell them on if they can. So Taylor Ray, she's gone the other way for the Mariners, so she's departed from the women's team following the expiration of her contract. But it'll be a real tough task, I think, for the Mariners to defend their A-League Women's Championship. But yeah, we'll see how Babington goes up there.
Yes, and over now to the Australian Championships, Chief. All places are filled. We have 16 teams, 4 groups, all confirmed as South Hobart, Premiers of Tasmania, have won their league, and now we're all ready to rock and roll with 40 days to
40
go.
days. 40 days
40
to go.
days, my friend. All right, break it down. So, what do you think of these groups?
I don't think they're locked up in groups a bit. It's Avondale, Apia. We've got Metro Stars, Canberra, Croatia, Heidelberg, who we mentioned before, Broadmeadow Magic, Marconi Stallions, Preston, South Melbourne, Sydney Olympic, Moreton City Excelsior, South Hobart, Northwest Spirit, Sydney United, and then Wollongong Wolves. I've missed one there, Bayswater City. So yeah, look, it's a good mix. I think because a lot of these teams have won their NPL competitions, they're going to come in some good form. And then obviously those kind of 8 foundation clubs, a lot of them quite strong anyway, even if they haven't performed necessarily up the top of their various NPL competitions. So it's exciting that this is going to come around and all spots confirmed now. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully everyone can get out and support. Only 40 days to go, so we'll build up to that one really nicely. And with the Australia Cup, semi-finals over and now and done, and the final not until October. There's going to be a bit of a gap through September domestically. So yeah, hopefully
Good
they can
time to
build.
promote it. Yeah, good
Yeah,
time to promote it.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
anyone concerned, Chief, over the fear of a second league competition or whatever happens in the future with the Australian Championships, have a look at the quality of these sides and the history. There's some custodian clubs. There's some clubs on the rise. We've seen some great shows and displays in the cup. Anyone with fears, have a look because these clubs have got intentions and they're a challenging. They're here to challenge the best. So I look at every one of those clubs and they are red hot, and we're going to see a very fierce competition. I can't like to pick a winner or anyone out of that. Wow, good luck with that one. That's fantastic, and I hope every home club of those clubs recognise the importance of this competition and gets out and supports them so they can continue to build, because I think you've got some very strong intentions and visions and strategies for these clubs going forward.
Plenty of local rivalries in there as well, plenty of old NSL rivalries as well. So, yeah, there's plenty of storylines that can be drawn through the group stages and then into the knockouts as well. So, yeah, plenty to get excited about.
All
Right,
right,
mate, what are we looking forward to this week?
oh, how can we not look forward to the big game in Canberra, Chief? The double header starts against New Zealand in Canberra on Friday. It's the most exciting thing. International football it is. And we get our first taste of this squad that we've been craving for to see, and the excitement and how Popper's going to fit all this formation in now will be the biggest question going forward. Yeah. So the lineups, I tell you, Chief, on Friday, I will be super pumped. I can't wait to see it. He better send me a message to give so I can test out what he's doing.
Yeah, the game's at 7:45 Australian Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah, look forward to those lineups about 6:45 or so. But yeah, that's the exciting thing coming up this week. We look forward to everyone arriving in camp safe and sound. And we'll see what happens with Sammy Silvera, whether a replacement is brought in for him. If that's an injury, let's hope it's not, and he gets a chance. But we'll keep on this space. We'll give you everyone updates during the week on social media as we get some news to hand. And yeah, we love to hear everyone's thoughts. But I think that'll do us for this week, mate.
Absolutely. Keep the highlight reel going, and let's have a series. We've got more free kicks and goals, eh?
Thanks for joining us on the Aussie Game podcast this week. We'll be back same time next week. Let's look forward to the Socceroos taking on New Zealand this Friday coming up. Cheers.